Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thanks for joining me for voting video number 395 in the incredible Mandela Effect voting video series here on the Moneybag 73 channel. I'd like to give a shout out to Blue Pac-Man 13. He brought up a Mandela Effect change from a few years ago and prompted me to start researching it. So I'm going to put a link down to his video down below. What do you remember? In the Judges chapter 16, verse 19, story of the Bible about Samson and Delilah, do you remember Delilah cutting off Samson's hair and him losing his power? Or do you remember her calling a man to come and have it done? So this is what we're voting on. Thumb up if you remember Delilah cutting off Samson's hair. And thumb up the top comment, which is a thumb down for the video so we can see the count. Thanks to YouTube taking that away. Thumb up the top comment if you say no. She always called a man to come and cut the hair. And you guys are just all misremembering, which you can't even do if you didn't know something in the first place. But all right, so I'm reading here from my 80-year-old KJV Bible, chapter 16, verse 19. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man. She called for a man. And she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. So that's what we have. But yet there's tons of reality residue in stories. Now, there are people that want you to believe that the writers of this story here were just having confabulation.
While Samson slept, Delilah, armed with a huge and sharp knife, cut one by one all Samson's plaits and let them fall to the ground. Then she showed herself at her front door and called for the Philistines, who ran up in great number.
The Mandela Effect is something that's been going on for a very long time. Many of us have been blown away by it for 6 years or more, and some people 10, 20 years. On the Coast to Coast radio show, Art Bell was talking about it in 2001 multiple times. So this is something that's been around for a long time. Now, the problem is you have these smartest people in the room that want you to believe that this here rendition of the Bible story that I'm about to show you is due to the writer's confabulation. There's people that want you to believe that the writers of this rendition here were having cognitive illusions. I'm sure you don't have to go very far to find people that will have you believe that amnesia or dementia are behind the fact that they couldn't get this clip right. As hard as it is to believe, and as funny as it sounds, there are plenty of people that will have you believe that this here is incorrect because of early onset Alzheimer's.
The woman didn't care about Samson and told the Philistines how to capture him. That night, while he was sleeping, she chopped off his hair.
Unfortunately, I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to find people that will tell you that vascular cognitive impairment or misattribution of memory is responsible for this movie being wrong. I mean, of course we misremember things. We have fallible brains. We don't have perfect recall. We can't remember things perfectly. We get all that, okay? We understand all that. But All this misremembering, you really believe misremembering is responsible for this man's
She wanted to check if he was awake. Assured that he was blissfully slumbering, she seized the opportunity to cut his hair herself.
I've taken away your strength, Samson.
Do you believe misremembering is responsible for this man's memory of the event?
All people really know is that Samson had long hair and that Delilah cut his hair and he lost his strength. There's much, much more to the character of Samson. He was an unwilling hero, and his journey to finding his faith again, I think, is a major, major pillar of the Samson story.
You know, this whole misremembering thing that I keep hearing from people is absolutely ridiculous. You can't misremember things you never knew. These men here, they never knew a man being called to cut off Samson's hair. They always knew Delilah had cut it off. I never knew J.C. Penney. I never knew John Deere. I never knew Van Camp's pork and beans. So since I never knew those things prior to 2016, I can't remember them. When you misremember something, you can remember what it was. You can have a recollection. Someone can point something out and you can say, oh yeah, I remember now. But I'm never going to remember now John Deere, D-E-R-R-E, because I never knew it. I never knew J.C. Penney, P-E-N-N-E-Y. I never knew Van Camp's. I knew Vandy Camp's. I never knew Van Camp's beans, so I can't remember it. This whole misremembering thing is just an excuse for people who don't want to look into this incredible phenomenon and who aren't willing to peer outside of their little box. Now, I know I'm speaking to the choir, but I'm hoping someone stumbles upon this and says, you know, this guy has some pretty good points. You can't misremember things you didn't even know. But that's what we keep hearing behind the Mandela Effect is absolute lunacy. Go create the reality that you want. I'll be back with all of you soon.